Just one moment.
Do you want
Even more.
Obviously!
See, I'm greed. I want everything you can think of.
Then I propose a deal.
Equivalent exchange! I'll give you
More.
awesome!
Stuff.
If you
Please.
Like, comment.
Subscribe.
Sorry about that interruption.
We're off! Let's hit the road!
I wanted to do this article from Death Note. I'm not sure if you guys have read Death Note, but I mentioned before in my my post that we might do other articles in the future. I'm going to see how this plays out, because unfortunately, when it comes to Geass, and I can show you really quickly, hopefully we won't get like surprised again. There is like no specific Geass articles left to go over that I can think of. There's a bunch of like they'll have them listed as one of the options or list items, but in terms of like actual Geass articles, I think we've gone through like everything except this one. But like, let's be honest, or this one. These are both like, yeah, they don't do much about. They don't do many Geass articles, which by the way, I'm thankful, because I don't want to read this crap. So I think we're gonna do a Death Note article. I know that's not what people necessarily want, but the only other option I can think of besides this is we'd have to like do a video, and I'm thinking of I'm sorry, we are doing a video response, and I'm thinking that maybe down the road we'll start looking at certain Geass related videos. Here's some examples I was thinking about: Giga's review of Geass R2, Glass Reflection review on Geass, Watch Mojo's Geass versus Death Note. We might do some of those, but most of the articles about Geass we've already like gone through, and some are just like flat out. They're not even like opinionated. They're just more of like, let's just list a bunch of stuff we read from Wikipedia. Somehow you'll think that it's interesting. You know what? Hold on. Scratch that. Let's do. Ooh, should I do this one now or save it? I'm gonna save this one. We'll do this next week. That's actually interesting. What else we got here? Yeah, see. Oh, and there's this one too. Yeah, this one's like it's not too objective, so I mean it is objective because they just say, hey, this is never explained, therefore we'll put it there. Anyhow, we're gonna go to the article. We'll see how this goes. I know some people don't like Death Note. I know Geass and Death Note, it's like yeah, people hate that crap. All right, Death Note. Main characters ranked from worst to best character arcs. Death Note is one of the greatest anime ever made, but how do the characters compare in terms of the story quality? This came out, by the way, like the start of this month. Okay, it goes without saying that Death Note is widely considered one of the most popular anime series of all time. Madhouse has consistently been at the forefront of bringing true life to the anime medium with their larger-than-life animation. God, the words. It's like it's so hard to. It's not hard to read, but it's like it's too much word, guys. Always managed to even the most mundane things look all the more amazing due to the sheer amount of detail put into art. Just say the animation's good. When you throw a lot of what's it called? Descriptory words, adjectives, you're not making it any better. Of course, hard to add that one of the biggest draws of Death Note is its cast of well realized characters, all of whom add their own flavor to the mix to make some truly engrossing viewing indeed. Okay. These characters play a huge role in development over the course of the series, and although they are admittedly some arcs are better than others. The original manga appeared in 2003, and almost 2 decades later, there's a whole Death Note franchise that fans can enjoy. The anime series from 2006 gets the most attention, and the main character lies often in the face of Death Note. Well, it's him or L, right? He always on every list that features the most compelling and evil characters in anime history. The Death Note characters and their arcs are what make the show fun to watch, both first time and watchable value. Now, before we go through this list real quick, let's just define a quick term because they don't do it here, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page. What is a character arc? Just so we're clear on this. Hopefully I won't get something weird. It's the essential aspect of every story they tell, whether directly or indirectly, the change from beginning to end. Okay, so what changed from beginning to end? That's what I thought. They tell us, but though these arcs tell us what changed, they don't necessarily tell us what changed the character. Okay, so it's a story itself of what they changed, or what changed to beginning and the end. Not necessarily the character itself, but how the story was. Okay, I got it. Yeah, see, some characters are flat. They stay the same despite changing the circumstances around them. Okay, got it. All right. And here it is. The character arc is measured by how is a measure of how a character changes over time. These arcs are linear, so as to say they're always has a beginning and an end. They don't have to coincide with the story arcs. For example, story arc may start at a linear end, but that doesn't mean the character arc begins at its end too. Okay. Man, a lot of burping here. Types of character arcs: moral ascent, moral descent, and flat. Wow, this is actually a pretty good article. I'll get this down. Wow, there's a lot going on here. Okay, anyways, we'll refer to this later if necessary. All right, with that in mind, here we go. Number 12, Mello. While the first half of Death Note is a brilliant watch, the same can be said for a second half, which has a noticeable dip in the quality. Yeah, I can't deny that, and that's because the manga was rushed. I said before that I had like the manga here, and it was rushed. That's why the anime is terrible. If you actually read the manga, it's much better. It's still, you know, debatable in terms of quality, but the show definitely screwed it up. The leading reason is the main characters of Death Note aren't interesting in the latter half. See, that's not true. I don't think they're not interesting. In fact, I'm going to say something very controversial right now. I like Nier more than L. If you guys don't like Death Note, you probably don't care either way, but I liked Nier more than L as a character. That's not a topic for this video, but just so you guys know, I liked Nier more. I didn't like L that much. When he died, I was like, oh, should I have said that? Oh, well. I'm sure you guys know that by now. If you're sticking with the video, you know how Death Note goes. If not, well, I apologize. Anyways, the two characters who end up replacing L after his unfortunate demise. Hey, look, they did it too. Yay. They don't even say spoiler alert. God. I have a story about spoilers that maybe I'll tell you guys another time. That would really piss me off. But anyways, after his unfortunate demise, our example, great example of this. With Mello being an absolute lowlight of the series, the fact that he ends up succumbing to his demons and goes down a criminal path in order to hunt down and arrest Kira is painful to watch and makes an extremely boring character arc. Okay. Hunt down and arrest Kira is painful to watch, and it makes it extreme. You know what makes Mello interesting is that he's an anti-hero, because he was going to use criminal means to go after Kira. And the reason why that's actually interesting is because L did some stuff that was questionable, right? Like he was going to make that one guy, he hit someone on death row, what was it, Linda Taylor, and Light Rose named down to kill him. That's how he knew where Light was the whole time. That was questionable. Before he actually died, he was going to make a criminal right name to test the 13-day theory, who was going to be executed anyways, which is still questionable. And he put Light and Misa in isolation for like 50 plus days or something, some crazy number. But all Mello simply did was he took a more aggressive means to capture Kira. You have to say, why was it painful to watch and extremely boring? I didn't think it was boring. He was definitely chaos incarnate. I mean, he captured the director, and he captured Sayu, which those were good strategies. It's funny, these two kind of relate. Did I delete the article? All right, not delete. Did I delete? I wish I could have. I mean, I did close it out, but the strategies to do that was actually pretty smart. I thought it was interesting because until that point, the police force wasn't doing anything really criminal to capture a criminal, but Mello's like, look, we'd have to do this a different way. And one thing I think it is true in this series, this could just be, headcanon, but I always saw it like this, where Nier and Mello both shared aspects of L. It's almost like L divided up the two different characters, Mello and Nier, because Mello has the anti-hero aspects of L, the more criminal dark side to him, where Nier has more of the analytical brilliance, deductive reasoning of L. So you put them together, you get L. That's why they had to work together to defeat Light Yagami. That was kind of that was the point of that. I'm not saying it was handled the best, but that's what they were trying to do in the anime. Now, was it a low light? No, there's low lights in this series. Okay. This is not one of them. The plan to stop Mello, that was something else. But no. Again, as we said here before, a character arcs, right? How they change. Well, here's a thought about Mello, right? He started the series, or second half, saying, I'm not going to work with Nier, I'm going to do it on my own. How does he end the series? By acknowledging he has to work with Nier, and he gives up his life to capture Light. How do you say with an honest face that's not a strong character arc? That's pretty good to me. He changed and he helped on the story. I don't know. What they're really saying here is they thought he was boring. Well, that's not relevant. We're talking about a character arc, not 10 characters you hated. Oh, man. I don't know why I keep bothering with this crap. Okay. Number 11. Nier. While Nier might also be rather uninspired Death Note character. Uninspired? I thought he was interesting. He kept playing with toys, but he's 18 years old. I don't know. He had a quirk. Personality being ripped off his predecessor. There's no denying the fact that he's still leagues ahead of Mello. But then why'd you put him 11? If he was leagues ahead of Mello, wouldn't it be like a more obvious difference? You know, like let's say it was number 10 is Mello, number 11 is like number 5 would be Nier. How's that leagues ahead? I don't think you know what these words mean. But anyways, there's some place where the audience sees a positive element as subtle as it is. A positive. What the fudge? The fact that Nier has absolutely nothing unique associated with his persona certainly takes the quality of his character down a notch. And exaggerated quirks he has, twirling of his hair and peering suspiciously at everything is just annoying. Okay, again, is this a list of characters you hate or bad arcs? Those are not the same. What is a evaluation on the character as a whole? The other one is saying, was their journey in the story interesting? And by the way, we just read the definition of character arc. It says here that some characters can be flat, mean they don't change at all, and it could still be a good character arc. So just because they don't change or they're uninspired, how was he uninspired? Nier had a lot of his own like weirdness he added. As I said before, the two characters combined would form L. That was kind of the purpose. They wanted a character who was more analytical than L, and a character who was more diabolical in terms of like doing anti-hero stuff. So if you're going to tell me and say like he was uninspired, then you missed the point. Literally missed the point. He's throwing darts. If Seabright was throwing a dart, it wouldn't even go to the board. It would fly like in the air and somehow land on Mars. Like you guys were just completely out. Wow. This article. Number 10, Naomi Misora. What? Okay. It's a testament to the brilliance behind the show that a character who only appeared for one episode ended up being one of the best and most interesting characters in the series. This statement is not relevant to this topic. After the death of her husband, Naomi Misora tried to harass the contact the head of Kira investigation team, only to encounter the killer himself in the form of Light Yagami. The ensuing game of cat and mouse is easily one of the highest of the series, and goes to show how interesting Death Note can really be. And most of it's made possible due to the quick thinking of Naomi right up to the very end when she slips out and reveals her name as Kira. How does it have anything to do with anything? This isn't an arc. Do you not know what an arc is? Do I have to go back to this? Okay. Protagonist wants some goal. He can't get the goal. He has to do something to attain it, and then he attains it or something. An arc is like either you change as the story goes, or you change the story. She didn't really do either. She was kind of like a stepping stone for Light. She was a nuisance. Is she a good character? Sure. Was her death, her whole situation with Light, one of the best parts of the show? Agreed. Does that mean that she had a good arc? No. And are you really going to say a character that appeared for like 2 episodes had a better arc than 2 characters that appeared through an entire second half? When does Light die? 27, 29? I don't know which episode it is, but that's still, these characters were at least on for what, 8, 9 episodes? They had less of an arc than someone who was on for 2 episodes? Just on the definition of an arc alone, that makes no sense. Ugh. Man. Again, this is a list of characters they like or hate. Just be honest, you know, I don't even care, you know, just, this is what I mean by clickbait. I go in the article, I don't get what I expected. Did anyone comment on this, by the way? I'm disappointed. But you know what? I'm not. Why would, it doesn't deserve the comments. It's just crap. Kiyomi Takada. Takada's a character that appears early in the series, but is deliberately kept in the background to hide her nature from everyone, even the viewer. She was involved with Light during the university years and later on as a TV news anchor, openly supporting Kira, and was one of the few other people that also knew his real identity. She was deliberately to play well against Light and had a similar character arc to Light. But hers was cut short as Kira's plans started to unravel. I mean, no, because she died, what, right before the situation in the warehouse? How is that cut short? That's like the same length, as almost the same length as Light. Cut short would be like halfway through. When Takada appears more often in later episodes of the series, there's a lot of flashback and memories that suggests she was working in the background for decades to help Kira. No, she wasn't. That's what? Is that headcanon? I've never heard anyone say that before. It's a unique Death Note character arc because fans don't understand the scope of it until the very end. It's a unique Death Note. The top 10 the main characters ranked from worst to best by character arc. Wait a minute, main characters? She's not a main character, but it's worst to best. I don't care if it's unique. Why is it better than others? I'm like Yoda going like, this is so stupid. Like, what? First of all, I don't think it's even true. But more importantly, her arc, it was good because she helped out Kira kill people and make it seem like it was actually Mikami doing it. That's what you talk about in terms of arc. See, an arc is about how you impact the story. How did she impact the story? She helped Light kill people without them knowing that it was her and it was actually Mikami the whole time. She was used also to be the spokesperson of Kira. They don't mention either of those here. Wow. That was her role in the story, if we're going to talk about roles. There's like 3 different topics at once. It's like a hodgepodge of like different ideas. It's complete crap, and this is what you should expect at this point. Is her character arc better than like Nier and Mello's? No. Favoritism should not be relevant when discussing a character's role. I mean, isn't Nier the one who like forced Light into the situation to begin with? Same with Mello. Like, they worked together to stop Light. All Taka did was help him nearly defeat them. But you could argue that if these two didn't get in Light's way, Taka wouldn't even be relevant. But hey, whatever. What hell I know. I think there'd be a apostrophe S there. Let's go through one more here. Teru Mikami. The idea of having another Kira something that was executed with definiteness in Death Note. Teru Mikami is a great example to illustrate the benefit of this particular angle in the story. Okay, at least they're giving an argument here. There you go. He wasn't really like Kira. He was more of a more black and white version, a less analytical and more just kind of like direct. Like, he understood what Kira wanted to do, but he wasn't as tactful about it. That's why when he killed Taka, they were all screwed. So, but I would say, like, yeah, that's fine. That's actually a fair argument for once. He may not be one of the best Death Note characters, but he's definitely the most interesting. Again, not relevant. The warped sense of justice that Mikami had developed as a result of a traumatic childhood made him a perfect candidate to be another Kira, which his iconic repetition of the word delete became one of the most memorable aspects of his character that the fans still look back to fondly on this day. This is actually the only argument they've made that's actually somewhat valid. I think they could go more into it, but at least they actually tried here. But is he like above Mello and Nier? I'd say probably on par. This one I'm not too upset about. Soichiro Yagami. It's funny that the lead investigator of Kira investigative team didn't even realize his own that the perpetrator he was looking for was none other than his son. Well, it wasn't he didn't realize, he was trying his best not to see it that way. And okay, this is really stupid, because every part in the story, they made it clear, or Light was able to manipulate the variables so that no one, that his father wouldn't suspect him, because he kept like when he was in isolation for what, 50 days or something, and no one was dying. So he convinced the police force that, yeah, he's not Kira. Or how about when he was able to manipulate his father as Kira to go and bring him out, right? During that part, when he looked at the Light, because he had the eyes, because Light didn't have ownership of the Death Note at the time, he could see his his lifespan. Of course, would that make him laugh because or happy? That made me sad, you know, knowing when my child's gonna die. But whole other topic. The point is, in every case he could have found out, it was proven that Light wasn't Kira. So the realization is a bit insulting to Yagami, who was okay with the idea that now, okay, if it was the case that his son was Kira, he would obviously investigate it and go for it. But every time they could have figured it out, Light was able to evade it. The cameras, I said, isolation, and of course that part with Mello. So I wouldn't insult him like that because it wasn't like he was an idiot. Okay, he was manipulated. And again, with a father, this is more of an emotional thing, but he tries his best not to see Light as Kira. And it was a long rant, but I'm like, I don't like the way they worded it. It kind of destroys everything that the show was trying to accomplish. It was Soichiro's own optimism that would betray him, which makes him his tragic arc as one of the best among the Death Note main characters. I can't even disagree with that. That's true. It was his optimism, and also, of course, his actual death was trying to take on Mello. Regardless of what most people feel about this course of events, there is no denying the fact that Soichiro was still a bright and intelligent man whose death was certainly quite hard-hitting. The fact that he died believing his son wasn't Kira was the only respite he had. Yeah. This was I agree. I think you can put him higher in the list, honestly. He had a really good arc. So with these two, these are actually pretty good arguments. The past ones were crap, but these were actually pretty good. Number 6, Misa. Initially coming off as more than an obsessive fan of Kira, who absolutely no other motivation in life, Takada how Misa Amane managed to break past this barrier and establish herself as a brilliant character in her own right. The relationship she shares with Rem and Light over the course of the series is one of the driving forces that defines her character, turning her into a compelling person whose scenes always feature a trademark strangeness that could have been achieved with her unique persona. I'm going to disagree on this one. I don't think there was anything special about Misa. She was just an obsessive fan of Akira. She only did what he told her to do. Every time she was a model, true, but she was a model before Akira got involved in her life. I can't think of anything she accomplished in her arc besides getting in Light's way or help out Light. Yes, she had a relationship with Rem, which was important, but was this arc, if you want to call it that, the same as, say, his, hers, or these two? Misa's kind of like, this is actually a Geass thing. Misa's kind of the Shirley of Geass because they keep freaking messing with her her mind, right? Because she's like, I'm Kira, I got the eyes. Okay, great. But her lifespan was expanded, right? Because of jealous. And then I will say Lelouch, that's stupid. Light makes her give up Rem makes her give up the Geass, Jesus Christ, the Death Note, and she loses her memories. Then when she gets her memories back, she gives them up again when Mikami gets it. So basically, she's just like a tool to Light, where he just uses her and disposes of her anytime he gets the opportunity. That's why I don't see her as like a great character arc. She was just there as a tool for Light to use. Her only real reason to be with him was because he killed the killer of her parents, which is, you know, it's fine. She had motivation, but when we're talking about a great arc, it's like, did she really? It seemed at certain points in the story she just wasn't relevant at all. She was either under police protection, or she was under police protection, or she was killing people with Kira, but I don't know. I didn't like the character because she just seemed like a typical obsessive fan. I mean, think about the last part of the show, right? She was arguing with Taka about who should be with Light. That's what I think about when I think about her. The Rem thing I agree with. There are certain elements they're saying here, but these trademark strangeness, that existed before she was with Light, and that doesn't mean she had a good character arc. Just because a character has quirkiness doesn't mean that it's a good arc. Again, we're talking about arcs, not the character themselves, like their traits. Like, it's like saying because L sits in a weird, funny way, therefore he had a great arc. I mean, Sure, whatever. I don't agree, and she's way too high on this list. She should be number 12 or 11. And that, I know that's maybe that's not nice to the Misa fans, but like that's way too high. I'll say that much. Ryuk. Of course, it'd be impossible to talk about the best characters in Death Note without mentioning the brilliance of Ryuk. A Shinigami ended up being the most compelling character, won the most. Sure. While his whole trademark of finding humans intriguing stays stagnant throughout the series, it's still interesting to make him one of the best characters, even though his arc might not have been all that significant. Okay, this statement here is so telling. It's still interesting enough to make him one of the best characters in Death Note, even though his arc might not be all that significant. I'm going to say this again for like the billionth time. Is this an article about the best characters in Death Note, or is this about the arcs? If you are going to say that Ryuk's arc was insignificant, which I'm not even suggesting is true or false, if you are going to say his arc is not significant, why is he so high on the list? Why is he ahead of people who actually had arcs in the series that were significant? If your barometer is if the arc was significant, how is Nier and Mello not on the list? I'm literally like, what the fudge? This is so ridiculous. What? Ryuk is way too darn high on this list. If you're arguing his arc wasn't as significant, I mean, I can kind of see that because he doesn't do a whole lot. But I kind of see Ryuk and Misa almost in the same light. Light. I kind of see it as the same light. Get what I did there? I'll end the stream now. But if you're going to say Ryuk wasn't significant, you could argue same with Misa, because even though Ryuk didn't kill people with the Death Note for light, he tried to give him certain advice about how to do stuff, like the eyes, or the part where he held down Sidok, the deaf god. He prevented him from talking, so Light could go in there, not Light, but like the police go in there and kill Mello. And he got the cameras. Basically, if it was convenient, Ryuk would help out Light Yagami. But to say like, if this has no significance, I don't think she did either. They were both equal in my opinion. But why is he so high? If like, oh, all right. I gotta take a break for this. Let's see what any comments on this. I know you guys don't like Death Note, or you're not here for Death Note, but if you are here watching with me, I appreciate it. As I said before, we're out of Kogias articles, so we're not out. There's 2 left, but I'm gonna save it for another video. Okay, let's take a look here. You could rank the Kogias characters in a tier ranking. Yep, I'll do it at some point. Yeah, I should definitely do that. I have like, again, lists made out. I have to put them into article form and then video form. I like L, but I didn't get why he was so universally beloved. I always thought Light was the more interesting character. I think they were both interesting if you liked either one. I personally had, well, I had some issues with both characters. The reason why people like L is because he's just so strange. I mean, Light is so vanilla in his design. Like, there's a part in Death Note where they're about to start school, and Light reads his thing he wrote, and so does like L. L is just so strange. That's why people like him. He's such a bizarre character. He's got interesting quirks. That's probably why. Where Light was more of this I don't say spoiled, but this prodigy who was like, who cares about? I can see why. I personally found both characters to be interesting, but I liked L more than Light. But I didn't like L, so I didn't like Light. So I have like a personal bias against both. I like Nier the most. But anyways, yeah, that's why I think. It could be a fetish thing too. I don't know. I don't want to get into weird stuff, but Nier is underappreciated. Yeah, he is. I agree. Did Naomi have an arc? She was a pretty minor character. Yeah, she was. And it's funny, the article said it said main characters. And as far as I know, Naomi is not a main character. So did you not like watch the show, or do you not care? Or you just whatever. Misa was a Harley Quinn. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, she took abuse from Light, and she'd work with him no matter what. You know what? That's a pretty good. I like that. She was like Harley Quinn. Yep, well said. Yeah, the relationship between Misa and Light was like Harley and Joker, pretty much. Ryuk's one of the most entertaining characters, but in terms of his arc, he was a bit lacking in my opinion. Right. So why would he be listed so high on the list? That's what I'm so confused about. If you are saying he's not a significant arc, then don't put him so high. This is a top arc, not favorite characters. Wait, there was a Ryuk arc? Yeah, exactly. There wasn't. L's Butler was pretty much a ripoff of Alpha from Batman. Yeah, that's right. Naomi's husband, who had a bigger role arc than her, isn't even on the list. There's a guy who's not on this list who shocked me. I briefly went through this before the stream today, and I couldn't believe they didn't include him on the list. I mean, how? Unbelievable. But you'll see later. Okay, let's continue. Rem. The idea of a god of death developing feelings for a human to the point where they could be manipulated to doing their bidding is a testament to just how amazing Rem is as a Death Note character. Anything she says is short, honest, and often sharp to the point, and she coming off as nothing more than another stoic Shinigami with a personality that clashed with Ryuk. Rem's feelings for Misa ended up being the catalyst for her own demise. She ends up sacrificing her own life just to kill L and save Misa. I will not argue that Rem did not have a good character arc, because she did. But number 4... No. I don't know. No, like I said, this is actually a good point. She actually had a good arc. I just don't know if it's number 4 on a list. Again, think about characters that we are not including. Yagami, Mikami, and of course Mello and Nier. So no, she should be on. I agree. She should be on the list. She actually had a very important role, and she grew as a character. Because again, Shinigami don't develop relationship or feelings for humans. So no, I agree. This is a good one. The placing though is telling, but that's fine. Okay. Next, Matsuda. And then I gotta change my camera, my batteries after this. But Touta Matsuda, a member of the Cure investigation team, Matsuda starts on a little more than a comic relief as the main Death Note character. He is depicted as a clumsy, inept one of the group. Oh, the inept one of the group. But he's actually a decent shot and has talent for undercover work. At one point, he actually expresses some sympathy for Kira, only to be severely reprimanded by his mentor, Soichiro. For the most part, he's cheerful and is self-confessed weakling. Pull all this together, and Kira doesn't take him seriously enough to end his life. It's also possible Light spared Matsuda on the behalf of his father. Soichiro said Matsuda was always close to him. Light didn't spare him at all. He was going to kill him at the end of the show, so that's not accurate. Just again, nitpicky, but like let's stick to the facts here. Okay. Let's see. So as a member of Matsuda's, it was interesting because Matsuda, he was comic relief, right? He evolved to a point where he actually to kill Light, which was a very strong moment for him. They don't mention, however, that he like nearly committed suicide to help them catch the police, the Yatsuba members, right? That was actually a pretty good arc to his character. But again, when you think of arcs, like how they change the story, how the character changed the story, and how they changed themselves, is Matsuda really like number 3 on a list like that? I'm just trying to see I'm trying to think how his story or arc was better than these two. That's what I'm struggling with this. Like, I don't disagree Matsuda had a good arc. I'm just not sure if he was if it was that significant. Like, he changed the story, I guess, by being there, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Matsuda was always there, but kind of wasn't there. I also remember him from the last episode. Yeah, that's because they even said it there too, because he shot Light. That's what people know him for. He must die. He must die. Right? You know, that insanity. Mikami should have been definitely much higher. Yeah, I agree, because what made Mikami an interesting character is that we learned from him at a young age, like why he was killing people, why he had this whole sense of justice, why Kira meant something to him, and why him working for Kira was a big deal. So he had a way stronger, like, you understood who he was as a person, and that's what made his role so much more significant in the story. Whereas Matsuda, it's like the only thing that changed about him as a character was that he got a lot better as a detective. He definitely took more risks, but he still was comic relief. And no, the last part of this, I said before, Light was never going to spare Matsuda. One of my complaints of Death Note is the fact that Light doesn't kill all the detectives as soon as he can. Yeah, so even after his father died, he should have killed all the detectives. That's all I was saying. And he doesn't do that because of, I don't know. I was kind of confused about that. That's like a whole nother side note. But yeah, Matsuda is definitely not the... his arc was great, and he served the purpose of the story. 3 is way too high, okay? And again, I'm going to ask you guys after this, which character is not on this list? Now, I'm not a rocket... You don't have to be a rocket science to know who the next 2 characters are going to be, right? I mean, you know who it is. The order is, debatable, but the next characters, you know who it is. So, there's one character on this list who's not here, and I'm very confused as to why that is. We'll get to that very shortly. Let's see. Matsuda kind of had an arc, but other than being a comedic relief, his scenes weren't very memorable or gripping. I agree, except for one point, which was when he nearly killed himself to capture the Yatsuba. That actually was pretty good. He pretended to be drunk, and he actually was brave enough to jump off the ledge. That was a good scene. I would say that much. Okay. Namikawa. Namikawa? Was that his name? I thought it was, ooh. Well, anyways. Number 2. Again. L. The world's greatest detective is one of the best characters in anime history, and one that and the one need... What? And one need only look at L's quirky mannerism and eccentric personality to understand why this is the case. His whole being, including his background as an orphan and his antisocial personality, is creating a foil to the handsome and popular Light. Yes, I'm glad you understand basic storytelling. However, L is more in his analytic side, I should say. He ends up forming a genuine bond with Light, and even considers him to be a one true friend, which makes his final moments all more tragic. Yeah, L had a great character arc. He, obviously, he's the catalyst for a lot of events in the story. His ability to get close with Light. I'm always impressed how no matter what Light does to try to get him off his case, L doesn't buy any of it. I like at the very end, he asks, well, end of his life, before he died, he asked Light, have you ever told the truth before? And I was like, whoa. And Light said, oh, we all lied. I'm like, oh, dude, you just ruined everything. So, yeah, that was, no, he definitely did. His end was kind of sad because when he died, like the last thing he sees, I'm going to show you a picture of it. I'm not sure if I can, let's see. I have the manga right here. Give me a second. It's this one here. The last thing that poor man sees, and hopefully you guys can see this. I'm gonna put it right by the manga's got a better image. This is all like spur of the moment, obviously. Let's see. Come on. Almost there. Come on. Come on. Here it is. See that? That is the last thing that that L ever sees. Awful. But yeah, no, I agree. L had a good arc. Yeah, number 2 is fine. You can put him in 1, 2. I wouldn't be upset. All right, number 1, Light Yagami. The protagonist of the series also ends up being the most compelling Death Note character by a mile, with the transformation of an honor student like Yagami into a serial killer with a god complex, who goes by the moniker of Kira, being a highly interesting one indeed. However, it's the manner in which Light manipulates everyone and everything around him that makes him all the more interesting to watch. While his web of lies is ultimately unraveled by the end, the journey is still highly compelling in every sense of the word. Yeah. You can go back and forth with these. Light had a pretty interesting arc. He went from, as I said here, a student, he became a sociopath. He believed that to quench his boredom, he'd kill people. He fought against L. his main goals were again to be God, but also he's wanting to quench his boredom. That's why when L died, he was very disappointed. He was like, what's the point? You know, the competition was fun, but now he's gone. It's like, I don't care. I don't like. I'll say about Light's arc. This is a personal, obviously, take. It's not like this is objective or anything, but I don't like the fact they made him careless and arrogant at the end of the series. He was like, there were so many parts where Nier would get like information about him, and Light just like volunteered it away. It was really pathetic. Like he gave him so many openings. I don't think Nier was obviously very intelligent, but Light gave him too many freebies. I know that's the point. He was supposed to be a fall from grace because he was so high up there. He thought that no one could touch him, and then because high up for grace and no one could touch him, so he ignored Mello and Nier. But man, I don't know. That's always one of those things where I wasn't a big fan of. Now, and again, and just so you guys know, I said like several times, but like I didn't root for Light. I didn't want him to win. But if he's gonna lose, I want him to lose at his best, not at his worst. That's why I was so dissatisfied with the ending, because the Light that was defeated wasn't the Light we saw early on in the series. This was an arrogant, careless guy who he played himself. Now, to answer the question, who was the character that they didn't list? His name was, I think it's Aizawa. So I think you were right there. Not, I don't think it's is it Namikawa? It's Aizawa. The guy with the afro. That's the guy who should have been on this list. Let me go to him real quick here. I think it's Aizawa. Yeah, Soichiro Aizawa. This guy. How was this guy not on the list? I'm gonna zoom up real quickly. This guy had a great arc in the story. He was actually, besides Nier, I liked this guy a lot. Of all the detectives, he was not fooled by Light's BS. He worked with Nier to bring him down. He had to lead the police force because Kira was threatening the police. Everyone had to resign, and those who stayed on to take on Kira were possibly in danger. But he had a family that were, he had a daughter. She was like, what, 4 or 6? Young age, obviously. And he couldn't continue to fight Kira because if he gets killed, there was no way to take care of the family. Now, no, that's not what it was. It's not he could take care of his family. He had no financial means to. That's right. And of course, he could die as well. But they actually had a fund, and he didn't like that, so he ditched L. I respect that. But like, how do you not? What I'm confused about is you picked, and that's not you, the author. You picked a minor character who didn't have much of an arc. You picked someone who you said didn't have much of an arc over someone who actually did. Unbelievable. This guy was actually quite important to the story because it's due to his involvement that they catch Kira, because he leaked so much information to Nier. I'm always confused why Light let that go. This guy, like, he spilled the beans. It's because of what he told Nier that Light ended up losing. So, but yeah, like, this was a great character. Yeah, it's true, by the way. You're absolutely right. His hair had the best arc. But I'm just saying, like, how, of all the characters in the story, how do you not include this guy? That was awesome. I didn't even like Death Note, but this guy was awesome. Very disappointing. Let's see. Anyone else that we might have missed? Let's see. Who's that guy? Kyosuke, Teru, Mikami. Oh, we talked about him. The Task Force. Mogi. I'm not sure I go Mogi. I don't think he was bad, but so we have Higuchi. He was interesting. He had a great character arc. Yeah, you know what? I might have slated him over Ryuk, but yeah. Kenzo Mogi. Did he have a character arc? Oh. I would say as much as Matsuda, if we're going to talk about character arc, because he was also pretty involved when he was Misa's agent, and he also had to play the role of like this charismatic agent, and he had to take care of Misa as well when she was in isolation towards the end of the series. So I guess Mogi, you could have put him on there. This guy was killed, right? Wasn't he? Didn't he die when he tried to enter the building? Isn't that this guy? Hold on. Wasn't he killed? Yeah, he was killed. That's right. So we got this guy. What else we got here? I thought that guy who left early on came back to join them later. Like there was a detective who he was like, I'm out. I wasn't interested, but he came back later. I can't remember his name though. He's not listed here. I thought he would join them towards the end of the show, but I don't see him listed here. Like, is there a listing of the Japanese police force? 'Cause I thought there was a guy who left originally, and then he came back. Where was it? This guy, right? Did this guy? Yeah, Hideki. Was he involved in the second half of the series? Am I making stuff up? Yeah, Yagami took over L's identity following his death. By that time, Mello's nearest story arc began with the kidnapping of these two people. Yeah, he joined the team. He had a good arc too because he initially wasn't involved and he joined and he helped out. So that's another guy you could have put on this list. Yeah, really weird. And then if you want to talk about the special people who helped out, like Giovanni or Hallie Linder, they're pretty important too, right? Yeah, I don't know. This is just weird. I mean, there are certain things you could. This is a debatable list, obviously, but not putting this man on there is already a fail, in my opinion. Okay, let's go to some comments real quick. Okay, let's see. I rooted for Light until the end. Hello. Elle always gave me the I'm not like other girl energy, but his death was super depressing. Yeah, it was. His hair had the best arc. Yep. I think the writer of the article forgot about Aizawa. Well, here's the thing. You're right. That's probably what happened. But that's no excuse. If you're going to write an article that thousands of people are going to see, for better or for worse, in this case for worse, then you need to do your homework. And I also find it odd how this person remembered a character that appeared in like 2 episodes, but couldn't remember, the man, Aizawa. That I don't understand. If Naomi's on the list, her husband, Ray Pember, should have been listed too. I agree. Ray should have been on here. If you're going to put one, put the other. Don't, when you start picking the low-end characters on a list, that's when you fudged up. And that's why the Geass one was just as bad, because they did the same thing. Oh god, that article nearly killed me. I don't know how I'm still here to this day because of it. But when I went to that article, it was like, where is it? Have they made any new articles lately? Let's see. See this article here, the 10 best episodes according to IMDb. What's the value in writing this article? I've always wondered if this is more of a rant, but I just okay, one other point. I don't know if the point of summarizing the top episodes based off IMDb is relevant. How is that valuable? You can just go IMDb and look it up yourself. What's the difference? Or the top 10 popular characters according to Mal. Then just go to Mal. Why would I go to here? Look at this. The top times Geass was effective and 5 times it wasn't. Okay. I guess we have 3 articles we can do. I'll keep that in mind. So in this one too, it was the same thing. They had arcs for the characters, and it wasn't. It was just kind of lame because then again they didn't include people in here that could have been relevant. I don't recall if I discussed who should have been on the list, who wasn't, but they definitely missed some people. So it's one of those things where if you're if you're doing some research or talk about an article like this, do your research. And the thing about Death Note, the reason why I don't give them a pass compared to Code Geass in this respect is that no Schneisel. Wait, hold on, was Schneisel there? I wasn't really scrolling through it that quickly. Let me see. Yeah, no Schneisel. Good observation. Back to the point I was making was, with Code Geass, there are so many characters who are important to the story on some level that I can see why you might miss some people. But Death Note has a pretty small cast of characters, so it's inexcusable you could forget Aizawa, and it's even more inexcusable that Mello and Nier are so low. They had a more important role in the story than Naomi, than arguably Taka, arguably Misa, definitely Ryuk, and definitely Matsuda. I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, and they don't justify. Like, it was so sad with the article too. Is like sometimes they make really good points. Like, this one is fantastic, and this one's good too, as is this one. But some of these are just like personal opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, at least be intellectually honest and say that this is a list based on how we feel about the anime in terms of our characters, and not based on the arcs. And like I said before we started this, I actually defined what it was. They didn't do that. This is important because you have to justify like why be bad or good based on some kind of barometer, some kind of metric. You know, like you could write a hit piece all you want and then claim it's factual when it's not factual. So bad.